Welcome. This is Bibles and Bourbon. We're guys, Christian guys, willing to talk about tough topics. We're not experts. We don't claim to have all the answers. But we hope that these talks will challenge you to question what you believe and why you believe. Whether you agree with us or not, know what you believe and why. Today's topic brings me back to my childhood. Christian music. What is okay? And should Christians listen to secular music? But first I wanted to give these young whippersnappers a little history on Christian music. And I'm going to go back a ways, but I'll do this quickly. 1500s, Martin Luther.
Oh my goodness.
Was looked at a little questionable because he took secular music that was sung on the streets and in the pubs, and he put it to hymns and psalms. Okay, there was a song, A Mighty Fortress is Our God. That's an example of one. Then, we'll speed up to the 1800s. William Booth, founder of the Salvation Army, had this great idea. Hey, let's take secular music, put it with Christian lyrics, and let's get people saved. He had this band called the Joy Strings, and the music was called Salvation Music. Pretty cool. Then we go all the way up to the 1960s and 70s. Rock and roll, sinful, music of the nightclubs, rebellious. But it was also a time where the church was saying, hey, we need to redeem this music for Christ. And they were encouraging Christians to get out there and do that. So we had this Jesus movement that happened in the 1960s and 70s. And tons of people were getting saved. People that were into all this rock and roll music were getting saved. Some of the musical artists getting saved and bringing their love and passion for that type of music into the church, into Christian music. There were some Christian or secular artists that were getting saved that you would refer to them as Jesus freaks. The others would the unsaved people would say, hey, you're one of those Jesus freaks now. That's where that term comes from. I'll give a shout out to Larry Norman, father of Christian rock music, basically. You wouldn't have known that. Elvis is secular music. So you got Larry Norman. Then as we go into the 80s, we got like Petra, and we got, moving up a little bit, you got Stryper, which was considered one of the first Christian heavy metal bands to cross over into secular Christian music. And then we got like DC Talk, Kurt Franklin coming. We got a bunch of different genres. And currently where we're at now is just about everywhere you look, you have any type of Christian music genre out there. So guys, as Christians, what do we think about listening to all these different genres? And some of them are pretty edgy, okay? Listening to those types of music. What do you think?
So you bring up like the history of like the first time Christian music started to come into play, but music has been around a long time, and it's even in the Bible, and it talks about different instruments being used. There's percussion that's more of an upbeat, is drums and stuff of that nature, and then there's trumpets and so much more instruments that the Bible talks about, and there's a verse, Acts 17:28 talks about, for in him we live and move and have our being, as some of your own poets have said, we are his offspring. So that Paul is basically, he's quoting lyrics that were used by the group of people. I don't know what group it was, but a group of people that were making secular music to, I think it was Zeus and other gods. And Paul, he used the genre that they were using and incorporated it into Christian music, pointing it to God and stuff like that. So I think from this example, it shows that it's okay to use other genres. You can use rap, you can use rock and roll, and use that genre, that style of music for the glory of God, and make it about him rather than worldly things.
Yeah, I think Paul was looking in the setting that he was in, the culture he was in, and it was like, hey, they're into Greek mythology, they're into Zeus. Let me use something that they're familiar with. And he's referring to that altar that was of that unknown God, and he's saying, no, I know who that God is, but he used the culture to connect with them. Jeremy, you got something?
Yeah, I mean, I use different types of music. I love heavy metal, rock, rap. I have no set. What?
Very little rap. All right.
So I like different things, but it's mainly about what I take out of it. I don't care what other people take out of it. I know the lyrics from it. And it's kind of like having your own little prayer language. Only you know how to really connect with God. Only you know how you can connect with God. I love music, and that type of music helps connect me with God. So whatever you can use, I think you should just go for it. If it's rap, rock, I don't care if it's country, use whatever you can use to get the most out of your experience with God. So that's why I use metal, because I think a lot of people overlook it. I look at the lyrics, love the music, the breakdowns and stuff like that, and some of the screams and stuff like that is very emotional for me. So that's why I use that. So I would say, if it's Christian, has good lyrics going through it, use it. Use whatever you can find to help you connect better.
So I was doing a little research on how music affects the brain and stuff like that. And this is not so much from scripture and stuff like this, but this is actually like what music does and for your brain and how it can help you. And it says music provides a total workout for your brain and helps keep your brain healthy. People, to get exercise, they go to the gym and work out, and music does that for your brain. And they were saying that it's actually good for you to listen to different kinds of music, to not just listen to the same types of music. It said to listen to music your kids listen to, all kinds of different genres, because these different sounds and stuff like that, they help your brain become more healthy, and they reduce anxiety. And music can help reduce the anxiety, blood pressure, pain, can improve sleep, quality, mood, mental alertness, and memory. So by listening to music and different genres and stuff like that, it actually helps your brain.
When I was bringing up the history, I wasn't just bringing up the history to educate you guys, Young and some others. I was bringing up the history to point out that throughout time, Martin Luther looked at like, yo, you're getting a little edgy. You're using some bar style music in your hymns and psalms. So we have people out there that may just say, hey, hymns are the only thing you should listen to, okay? But back then, hymns were even questionable a little bit. And then as we go, William Booth and the Salvation Army, like everything along the way, we've always questioned, is this right, is this right? And the answer, in my opinion, is when you look at Luke 6:43, it basically says, judge a tree by its fruit. What is the fruit of the Salvation Army salvation music? What is the fruit of some Christian rap artist that goes out there and witnesses to unsaved individuals and gets them saved? What's the fruit of Stryper having Christian heavy metal concerts and getting thousands of people saved? I mean, that's the fruit. You're judging it and saying that's actually doing something to increase the kingdom of God. I don't know how you can question that in a sense.
Yeah, so like a lot of bands that I follow that are Christian, they go out, they do normal venues and stuff like that, witness to normal people. And I went to one actually. There was a concert with it was 4 bands, 3 of them were Christian, 1 wasn't. And I got stuck online talking to this guy, and I'm like, dude, these are like Christian bands. And nobody has any idea until they get on stage and they like say it. So I think just metal and rock in itself is a perfect way to witness to people that would never hear it otherwise, you know what I mean? So it's all about the fruit and what you can do with it, like going into a situation or a genre that is probably looking down on Christianity and saying like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stand up for it and just hit it straight on. That's what I love about Christian metal.
What I love about the different genres too is that I personally cannot reach very successfully certain types of individuals on this earth. I cannot reach punk, heavy metal, screamo type youth that may be into that type of music. I try to reach out to them. They're going to think I'm the old guy, leave me alone, you're bothering me, whatever. But there are bands out there that are doing that. And to me, that's like really exciting to see that, hey, they can reach certain people. There's a Christian movement called the Whosoevers out of John 3:16, whosoever believes. This whole movement is a bunch of really serious, heavy type of music, but they're reaching out to teens that are committing suicide, wanting to commit suicide, a culture that I would never be able to be allowed to have a place in, that they're reaching out to and getting people saved. That's, again, judging the fruit. What's happening of this movement is that people get saved. That to me, when I look at if Christian music, the genres is okay, is what's happening from there. Okay. And again, like Mike said about the cultural thing, like there's evidence in the Bible of different ways of using culture to reach the lost. So I'm good with that. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
What about Christians listening to secular music? There's all kinds of secular music out there, so is it okay to listen to it? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
So I think, first off, if it's a stumbling block for you, we've kind of mentioned that. If it's a stumbling block for you, then you should cut it off. And if you get convicted of it in your heart and you're like, all right, well, I listen to a lot of Eminem, and for me, that doesn't really impact me. I don't curse a lot, I don't do anything like that. So it's really about how you take the fruit and you use it. I don't get convicted about that. Some things I would, and I try to avoid it. And when I do get convicted, like, oh, you know what, maybe I should stop listening to this. Like, that's when I know, okay, it's affecting me. I could step away from it.
Now, you bring up a very interesting point, because I don't know if you can say listening to Eminem is okay. Because that is like contradicts like everything.
Did I say it was okay, or that it's affecting me in a negative way?
It may not be affecting you in a negative way, but a lot of what he talks about is not good.
And when I said it doesn't affect me, though, so I can take it and I can listen to it, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, I understand this is bad, and I mean, I'm a drummer. I love beats and stuff like that, so I'm not really in it for like all that. I get that it's bad, and Eminem, Eminem is Eminem. He's kind of bad. Not going to throw stones. Not going to throw stones.
Who apparently has sold like more units than any other rapper. Just a fun fact. I just saw this on Twitter, but like he's sold more than like Drake and everyone. But,
so wow. Yeah, I when I get convicted, I mean sometimes I do. I'm like, I've been listening to way too much rap. Let me switch it up. But sometimes, I don't get convicted of it. I understand what they're saying, and I'm like, all right, I can hold back from that. I can kind of step away from that, but still listen to it, not have it affect me. When it becomes a stumbling block, that's an issue.
How affecting you? I guess maybe part of it is sometimes we're not always self-aware.
I was going to say, it may affect you and you don't even know it.
Music changes your mood changes your behavior could get changed depending on the music. If you're listening to music that's, I hate women and whatever women, that could obviously make your effect on your thoughts of a woman possibly. So that's where I get concerned with that. When you're listening to something that's contradicting the Word of God and it's not thinking about good things, Philippians talks about, whatever brothers, whatever's true, whatever's honorable, all that stuff, think about these things. When you're listening to music that's contradicting the Bible, or even music that's like blatantly, I hate the Bible, I hate God music.
That's a little different. So Eminem is Eminem. But if we're talking about stuff like Lil Nas X, there is some stuff I will not even dive into. You know what I mean? In the song that he put out, I forget the name of it.
Yes.
So there is stuff where I'm just like, oh yeah, Eminem, I won't listen to this song, but I'll put on these songs, where I know of artists that put out certain songs that really bad. I will never touch them. If they're on the radio, channel goes off. So there is a boundary that I do have.
That's good.
There's a statement I read online. It said, if a song promotes evil, promotes worldliness, gives you bad thoughts, challenges your actions, changes your speech, or if the music artist likes to basically blatantly go against God, that's stuff that you should be saying, should I be listening to this stuff? So I'm going to give you some Bible. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Don't be fooled by those who say such things, for bad company corrupts bad character. So if you're accompanying, if your company is Eminem, is that going to corrupt your behavior or corrupt your character? Ecclesiastes 7:5. It's better for a man to hear the rebuke of the wise than to hear the song of fools. So to me, it's like you really got to be careful what you're listening to. If it's music that's going to really affect you in a negative way, or music that's totally against what you believe as a Christian in the Bible, then that doesn't make sense to me. Thoughts?
Yeah, the guy from The Beat, I'm blanking his name, but the guy we really like watching, he brought up...
Alan Parr.
Yeah, Alan Parr. He's very good. He brought up some cool points that I thought was good to some questions to ask yourself before you listen to something that is like secular music, or you're wondering, should I be listening to this? The first one was, does the music promote an ungodly message? If it does, maybe you shouldn't listen to it. Second, what does my support of this music say to unbelievers? So if you're listening to derogatory stuff that's talking about drugs, alcohol, like all these bad things, what are other people going to see from it? Like, you gotta, like, if you were to take a picture of what you're listening to and like put it on social media, like, what are people going to think of that? Third, is the music hindering my spiritual growth? That's another one. Or is it hindering or blocking growth for another person? Now, this one's tough because...
Stumbling block. I mean, we have friends that do that. Like, we have to watch what we listen to
Exactly.
because it stumbles other people. And that's where I will draw the line.
That's
Like,
good.
Yeah.
you know what? Maybe with you, I'll listen to Eminem in the car.
Right.
But when we're with certain people, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And I would say, what was the third one he said?
The third was, is the music hindering my spiritual growth?
Back one.
What does my support of the music say to unbelievers?
Okay, so with that, you know, Eminem is one thing, but what if I do that with my Christian music? I mean, you heard my Christian music a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And if I put that, are people going to be like, well, that's metal still?
Right.
So, and even if I do rap, Christian rap, whatever, NF, people might be like, oh, you know, Christian rap, that's still rap. Bad stuff. So I think no matter what you post and kind of put out there, there's going to be people attacking it no matter what.
I think we talked earlier, like, Christian music is a little different. If it's Christian music, if it's glorifying God, like that's clear as day.
But I mean, metal is...
If people don't like that genre, that's on them. They're not taste and stuff like that. That doesn't mean you should listen in front of them. But it doesn't mean that's wrong. It's different if it's secular music and then you're putting it out, you know? Because it's like, this is not good music.
Well, you mentioned Christian music that glorifies God. Not all the Christian artists that put music out there is maybe a song glorifying God. And you gave the example of the NF. NF has lots of songs out there that aren't glorifying God. They're about his struggle in life.
Yep.
And his
That's
abuse that he dealt
another
with.
topic to
It's
get
a whole
into.
other topic. But it's,
I think no matter...
it's a Christian making a song.
No matter what, you're going to have people that say, no, the music you choose is not right. I could post NF, and people are going to say that's not Christian. I could post Fit for a King, my metal band, and they say, no, that's not right. You could post Justin Bieber, and people are going to say, no, that's not right. It can go on. So I think no matter what, you're going to have people coming at you, no matter what. And that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm just a human. I like this, and I like Eminem, and I like NF. Like,
Yeah.
I'm human.
I think one of the things, you hear often, and kind of tweaked a little bit from what the scripture says, but you hear that term, be in the world, but not of the world.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
Right. So I was reading on the other day, somebody gave an analogy of a boat. A boat is in the water. Okay, so that's being in the world. You don't have a choice. We're in this world. The concept of a boat is to make sure the water doesn't get into the boat, and that's the world. So when you're listening to music, is that music getting into you and corrupting you? Is it causing, again, all the stuff we've talked about? Is it having a negative effect on you? If it is, that's probably something you shouldn't listen to.
Now, I listen to all kinds of music, and I personally listen to music based on like my mood and the mood I'm in. I don't only listen to worship and Christian music. I believe God didn't intend. Some people think music was only meant to worship God, but he made it for so many more purposes than that. When King Saul was tormented by evil spirits, he would call on David to play the harp to soothe him. That's 1 Samuel.
Calm him down. Listen to music to be calm.
to calm down.
Chill out. I like that.
That's what I listen to metal for.
The Israelites also used musical instruments to warn of danger, to warn other people, to get hyped up. The trumpets around Jericho, that was Nehemiah 4:20, and to surprise their enemies, Judge 7:16. So music in the Bible is used for many purposes, and not just worship. So there's music out there that doesn't have ungodly messages, that there's good love songs that are secular.
Right.
There's good music out there that you can listen to that isn't derogatory, but is also secular. Like, not all music is bad if it doesn't talk about God.
I just tested myself before we came here, and I flipped through my Amazon Music, is what old people use. And as I'm flipping through, I quickly just pressed something, and it was the Goo Goo Dolls' Better Days.
On my Kindle Fire, I put my glasses up and I just scrolled through.
And I was like, all right, what is this song about? And it's this desire to change this world, make things a better place. It was written right after Hurricane Katrina, and there was war in Iraq, and so it was more about just making this world a better place. It's like, okay, that's a legit good song.
Yeah.
I did it twice, by the way, and every time I did it, I would say I was fortunate, because I'm probably guilty of some that aren't, but every time I did it, Journey, it was a Journey song. It was another great one. I researched the meaning, and it was this guy who was in Hollywood, struggling to make it in Hollywood, and he asked his dad, I need a loan. Would you give me a loan? And dad, or should I just come home? Is this a stupid dream to try to make it in the Hollywood world? And the dad said, I will give you the loan. You need to stay where you are, and you need to not stop believing. He said, don't stop believing, son. That's the name of the song, Don't Stop Believing.
Don't stop.
Exactly.
Believing.
So there's a lot of secular songs out there that have good meanings, and it doesn't bring you down as a Christian. So that's, to me, I'm good with that. There's a scripture, John 17:15, as Jesus was praying. It says, I do not ask that you take them out of the world, but you keep them from the evil one. We're not supposed to be out of the world. We're gonna be in the world. We're gonna listen to music that's got different genres. We're gonna maybe listen to some secular music, and it's not gonna be against our Christian faith, and that's okay, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I was thinking about this the other day, like, if Jesus came back, we're just going to use Eminem because that's what we've been talking about. If Jesus came back, there's no way he wouldn't sit with Eminem. There's no way he wouldn't sit and have a table with the fans of Eminem. I think Christians like to cast stones a lot, like, oh, he said this word, and oh, look at that music video, it's so bad, but like, we need to like open up and accept those people instead of just like, you know what, nope, you're not for us, we're not going to do anything with you. Like, we need to open up to those people. And that's why I listen to a lot of things. Like, I don't want to cut people off just because I'm a Christian, because then that wouldn't really be Christian of me. So I've been thinking about that a lot. Like, we cast a lot of stones about artists and stuff like that. All their music is bad when, you know, we have issues ourselves. So that's why I listen to a lot of that kind of stuff. I don't want to cast any stones. So.
Yeah, and so for me, like a little personal story about the music I listened to a while ago when we had our fast and stuff like that. Like, one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to fast like all, like I at the time, like I listened to like derogatory rappers and stuff like that, like Drake and you name it. And so like I was like convicted, like we were talking about, like don't listen to something if the Spirit convicts you. I was convicted to not listen to it and stuff like that. And so I fasted. And when I fasted, I was only listening to like Christian music and stuff like that. And like I felt like literally like a different person. I felt like completely changed just from only listening to that. And so that just I share this to say the impact that the music has on you and to be careful what you listen to. I'm not saying to not listen to secular music and stuff like that, because there's great stuff out there that's good and stuff, but some music, a lot of music that people listen to can be dangerous, and to be careful with that.
I agree.
And that's another episode of Bibles and Bourbon.
We have another part 2 coming up.
Yeah, we're going to do a part 2, and it's going to be about different genres in specifically like in the church. And some people think that having a guitar or electric guitar on a Sunday service is wrong. So we'll be diving into that.
I'm sure we have a lot of visitors or watchers who go to different churches and have different styles of music, so we're gonna dive on that.
I would just say, if you are a Christian, try that challenge. I've tried that multiple times, and it is good. And if you aren't a Christian, maybe try that challenge and try and find Christian music in your genre, because that is that opens you up so it can impact you in your own special way. And that's what I mean. That's what I do. I like metal. If I'm not going to listen to any secular stuff, I have a whole playlist for Christian metal, Christian rap.
There are so many good Christian playlists for literally any genre.
And I bet you probably listen to some and you don't even know it, because that's like a lot of metal.
So that's the episode. Peace out.
Peace.
That was very fast, abrupt. All right, we're done.